Hi everybody, and thank you for being with me one more month. And to the newbies, welcome. Hopefully we're going to be friends for a long time. Just really quick news that I want to share with you is that a couple of weeks ago the channel hit 3 million views, and it is a big milestone, and I really love it, and it's really encouraging me to continue, as I don't like to cut corners, and I really want to give you the best possible reading, so you kind of like can get an idea if I only focus on your own energy, how that's going to look like. Just like the one today, monthlies are more kind of like extensive, so kind of like buckle up, right? I like to do it properly. Shorter version, this might be a long version on YouTube. Some people like long. Short version is much easier for any reader. You just like snap them up, but that to me looks like cutting corners, right? And plus we are going through Mercury retrograde. I'm still expecting a whole bunch of stuff to go wrong. Also, Instagram started their own TV, IGTV, and I'll try to place short version with a twist on Instagram. So if you are social media kind of like fan, if you like to maybe do different things and different aspects, you know how the reading gives you something initially, it might not even resonate, but then you come back a week later and say, well, actually this happened, because this is sort of like projecting your own energies to me. I'm simply mirroring back to what I'm feeling. So let's start with kind of like the general kind of card for all the signs for the Cancer period. And happy birthday, Cancer. I love the sign of Cancer. It's like so nice and gentle, and really like for somebody who is like air, we need water friends around. So kind of like very conveniently, the kitty cat jumped out as a kind of overall energy. So look at that. Is there any card like that can actually describe being on top of the world right now? Sort of like celebration of success, right? And of course it is celebration with cat. So you're kind of probably jointly feeling that there is like some kind of change happening. Maybe we are all of a sudden willing to accept challenges of life or changes, and this is kind of like talking about probably enjoying a wonderful ride on the tiger of success. So we need to welcome it, we need to enjoy it, and most importantly we really need to share our joy with others. And remember, sort of like that every parade does have beginning but also has an end. So keep that in mind. Squeeze anything you can. That means like you're not staying at home and just mulling it over. You kind of like are supposed to kind of like let others kind of rub off on your kind of like feeling of kind of being in the zone. So keep in mind that kind of it's really good to kind of like ride a tiger, and this all shall pass. And this kind of is card teaching us that we need to enjoy these special moments in life, no matter how short they are and no matter how elusive they are, but they will be here this month. So how about we start? Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your July 2018 reading. So let's check with the cards that have been on the bottom of the deck, as well as your kind of like guidance card over here, the ground. And for you, the ground is the ground. This card is very special. As you can see, they actually even made it to the bottom of the deck. So let's get to it. But first, I see here finances and career and some idea. You guys have to review a little bit of pay attention to your work life. It sounds to me that maybe you're getting ahead, which is a good thing. and kind of like focus on the finances, but you're not realizing that you're stepping on the others, because you know what they say, beware who you step on, because on the way up, because you'll have to bump into them on the way down. So there is like definitely a card that talks about somebody being just so focused on where they want to get, that they're not getting this 360, how their basically actions are affecting someone. Like, so sort of like looks like you did manage to kind of like set your eye on some kind of goal, but you really have to start looking how that goal is going to impact the others, and kind of like find some kind of like fine balance over there. And now the tree, the grounding card over here. So the trees, I don't know about you guys, but I always admire trees. I just go in a park and I just literally just take zillions of pictures, and then I come home with all these pictures in my phone, not knowing why I'm doing this. Especially the evergreens, and you're kind of like looking them because they're like there, winter, summer, they're always there, and you're just wondering, oh my gosh, how was this planet like 300 years ago or 100 years ago when you were born? And then you're looking at the very, very top of that tree, and with evergreens you can really see it because they're coming to that point, right? And you know that one on the top is actually 100 years old, 200, 300, right? Depending how thick is the tree. So the standing ones, that's that kind of like balance between heaven and earth. So the branches are obviously reaching out and up, and it's sort of like almost like in a praise of their sky father, right? And we have this symbiotic relationship with plants, sort of like their leaves breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen, which is kind of like really vital for us. And we do the opposite. So we are feeding them and they're feeding us. So that's kind of like that symbiotic with many other beings on the planet. So on the other hand, like we see the trunks and their roots, they kind of like are planting themselves really firmly in the soil and sort of like allowing them to sort of like reach for the gifts of another kind of nourishment from Earth Mother. So hence there's like accommodating the needs of so many beings, so with what they have to offer. So I think, guys, this is definitely talking about focus, organization. Almost look like there is some kind of level of symmetry between up and down. Just like take the leaves down for a second and just like look at this. So maybe you have been feeling scattered and maybe spacey lately, and now this is saying like, look, maybe you didn't get grounded, you're not fully in your body, you're earth sign. And at the moment when I saw this jumping, I said, oh, okay, Capricorn, because you had a good period and then kind of like sinking in. So if you're feeling disconnected from your body, you know you are inevitably disconnected from Earth, and this is your element. Without this element, it's kind of like really hard for you to get ahead. So get yourself up and get yourself grounded, and this is kind of like a really simple process. So put your feet firmly on the ground, kind of planted almost like wherever you are, and then you start feeling how you're putting those roots down. It would be ideal if you're outside, if you're barefooted, you're standing on the ground. And of course, Australia is right now in the middle of winter. No, maybe not. But this ground is really important. You have people who actually really walk around barefooted because they are more resisting diseases, etc. And for you as an earth element, this is really, really important. And this is kind of like really balancing your sacral chakra, which is responsible for this finances and career. And you see, that's the idea. Maybe you have been flying high, you know what I feel, right? Maybe you went way too much, right, up, and you forgot to kind of like take this kind of like bottom over here. So this kind of like is going to really help you to understand your connectivity with others and what really needs to be done in order for this really to take place. Otherwise it could be just like a balloon lifting somewhere in the universe. All right, Capricorn, so let's see what else do we have for you. I'm going to leave this bottom card and this one for now, and let's see where we go. Religious factors. You know, Capricorn is bringer of the kings, bringer of the gods. So some structure becoming more structured, possibly becoming this grounded, is coming back, is going to be really important in this period. Patience is important over here. Yeah, this kind of like, it signifies impatience. Maybe you have been trying to rush through things and forgetting the details. We will see that. Express your love, playfulness. This could be the one. You deserve love. I love this card. It's coming in many, many readings, and this is like really telling that we need to kind of like really dedicate to that inner sense of who we truly are and love ourselves for who we are. Release your ex. Make the effort. Getting to know each other. And chemistry. Okay, so let's put actually this one here. And let's match it up. Okay, in your past, guys, you have playfulness and you have Two of Swords. So there is like something that has been brewing. You were maybe playing with some kind of decision. Maybe you were kind of like trying to reach some kind of like decision when it comes to romance, or this could be work as well. Because blindfolded path, walking on a tightrope, is not really for everybody. This is like sort of like what happens when you usually have to choose between the two things, and neither of them are really, really, truly appealing, right? So it is really, really important for us to kind of understand that, hey, what will we gain if we get there? Because you see, keep on going, somebody kept on going and got to the stage where now, like, I mean, you ruffle feathers at some point, and you know, like, it looks like the environment is sort of like responding in kind. So this is something that has already happened, and this could actually relate to both business and private, because the King of Wands can be a boss and it can be some kind of structure, right? But somebody who is like really action oriented. It could be, you know, somebody like with really gregarious, you know, personality, like flying high, and you know, and maybe you wanted to kind of like be, as I said, you're a bringer of the kings, and that kind of like would show you. That's why I keep seeing, like, maybe it was a career wise. This is really telling you that you maybe had to be on point, maybe you had to prove yourself, right? And that proving yourself, maybe it's that balance between playfulness and sharpness, because this fellow here, Knave of Swords or Page of Swords, is kind of like sometimes too much. Somebody in your face, and why is this, and why is this, like, you know, this little child who has all these questions and you come home tired from work, you don't want to answer. But that's kind of a thing. So maybe you're not even seeing that eagerness is basically now backfiring. But this in relationships can actually mean that, you know, you're trying to kind of find the truth with engagement with someone, and kind of like in that kind of like direction, you're actually trying to stabilize yourself. Maybe there were some kind of like words, maybe there was like sort of like something that kind of created instability, because I see that as well, obviously. It is really asking you as well to engage. So whether this is you that need to express it, go ahead and make a romantic gesture, but this is you. It's kind of Queen of Pentacles, and she's coming here and saying, you know what, you need to ground, and this is your ground. Like, you need to connect with that love, with your earth element. And now you have a King of Cups, you have another King, and you have a Knight of Wands. And again, I see the duality, guys. I think there is discrepancy between what you guys want. I think what you guys want is really, this is a lovely queen, and it's male or female, doesn't matter who you are. It is somebody who is very domesticated. Maybe your dating life is like, hey, come over, let's watch a movie, or I'm going to cook something, or kind of like have a field trip in the nature, right? But this person here, the Knight of Cups, the King, pardon me, of King of Cups, in the upright situation really makes lots of promises, and everything is so nice and dandy, right? Oh, you know what, yes, I do have even like I'm in a house with, you know, I'm going to inherit this, and showing you pictures, you know, like you see in the movies about that, and then you realize that just like, I mean, basically home sitting, or, you know, their old stories are only in their head, so you're actually even questioning their sanity. Maybe you have 2 suitors, maybe you have 3 suitors, maybe it's at the same time you're dealing with your work kind of engagement and something in your life that kind of like needs certain attention, but also with love and some kind of like wooing. So it looks like that it's kind of like really difficult, and maybe it's the same person who's going from this very romantic promises to, yes, I love you, you're the best. So hence they kind of hook you, because this is like what happens when you're only believing the words. Now this is really interesting. That's what I'm saying. This could be one person who is only either all words and then all actions, or these could be 2 different people. One is like all words and one is all action. But even the one who is all action is kind of like really enticing. You see, one energy kind of like, both energies are very close to you. Like you see, the water is right under your energy, under your frequency, and this is just above your frequency. So it is kind of like depending or in which direction you want to go. Generally when we date, we all go into fire, right? Just like want to kind of exercise this passion, and then kind of like we are taming this down to, okay, can we survive this, you know, with somebody? Can, you know, like, I love this person, but will I like them? And that's kind of important for a long-term relationship, right? If, you know, their lifestyle is like yours. And then goes to the next layer, to cups, where there's like this deep devotion, which is kind of quieter, it is slower, it's like not as fiery. So that's why many people, especially these days, kind of give up on a relationship, because the moment when they lose their fire, and hello, they will, because the fire doesn't last, as we know. Now, like maybe it's kind of like hard for you to find somebody who is matching what you really want over here, because I see that you're feeling kind of like disengaged a little bit. Like, so we have over here, and I'm jumping to the categories because ultimately you really need to really read the story and not really how the Celtic cross has to go, because look at these 2 cards are both about some kind of victory, and it's both about winning. And this person is like, I know all this truth, I'm going to be the smartest, right? So I think you had this like a really high energy, and I think I've seen it in your weekly readings, that kind of like it's really like you're grasping for the oxygen, and that's maybe why tree is coming and it's saying, look, maybe you need to do some kind of meditation. I don't know if you guys have plants at home, and if, you know, your home can actually even support plants. If you do, like, I mean, and if you love plants, get some more, because they really give you that fresh oxygen. If not, and if you live in Northern Hemisphere, what a lovely time to go out and to kind of like really sit somewhere. You get this ground and you also get this oxygen, and it looks like the cleansing and perspective is really needed, because here is really interesting situation what's happening with you, because here is like in the heart of this month is saying religious factors with 8 of Cups, and worth waiting for with King of Swords. So we have this 3 kings already. So 3 kings is something that happens astrologically on December 25th. And this is like when the sun is the lowest in the sky. And after that, it kind of like starts coming up, right? So this kind of like is really interesting, because religious factors and 3 kings, it's kind of like really going there. So I think you're starting some kind of process that's going to culminate somewhere around your birthdays, Capricorns. It's kind of really interesting that it's kind of showing up. Religious factors talks about quite a few things. Sure, it can be religion, it can be the dedication, it can be this bringer of the kings. If this is some kind of like corporate affair or business affair, then you're actually starting the process for which you need to be patient. It's still going to take another, 5 months to get there. 5 to 6 months is the process, even maybe up to 8 months. There is an essence that maybe right now you're not getting what you think you should be getting, what you think you did kind of invest quite a bit, but it is brewing, it is there. Whoa, Look at this, you have another 8. So yeah, this keeps reinforcing, you guys, you need to hold yourself. Right now, it looks like if it was a matter of knowledge, or it was a matter of testing you and saying, well, is this woman the right one for me? Or is this man the one I want because I'm not getting everything? Just saying, look, you still kind of have to look for the other thing. But in the meantime, kind of keep showing that level of control. Not in a bad control, you know, but sort of like this is a taming, kind of like those lower urges in us. It is kind of like figuring out, you know, how we can actually increase our level of us being a human, how to increase our kindness, how to kind of pay attention to the other people. So we cannot make other people into something they don't want to be made. It's just like we can change ourselves. And this is definitely saying, look, this is about very emotional. This is like, this is kind of water and fire kind of combination over here. Kind of like it's very interesting because it's culminating in this strength card. But there is but 16 and 7 is 23, and this goes back to Hierophant, which is your sister card, which again is basically meaning of it is religious factors. The religious factors talks about marriage, and the strength talks about marriage and commitment. So either it is a marriage or a relationship or what you're doing. I guess maybe you're being tested, maybe on karmic level, maybe on a very kind of like basic level, to kind of like what is really your commitment. Because look at this, here it's somebody who just like walks away, okay, I got this, no, but I want more. And here is somebody who's saying, I have so many options, but right now I don't even care. So then the universe goes, you know what, you're not going to get anything then if you're not paying attention. So here is saying that, you know, maybe you need to balance. You have to maybe also acknowledge how much you already accomplished and how much you already have. With this King of Swords, and I see this word waiting for throughout your reading. There is like a sense of rushing, and everything is saying slow down, slow down, slow down. I would not be surprised that the Tower card comes up, because that's what happens when people don't want to step on a brake. They just go right to the wall. This is saying, look, this is usually a judge. This is about kind of like a bigger perspective. That's a really, really high kind of level perspective. And he's saying, look, I'm looking down here and everything seems to be okay. Look at how he's wrapping his little fairy tale around this kind of like victorious thing. And it's kind of like laid down in the stone. So the power he has to kind of take it out and wreck everything apart. But he's saying, why would I do that? Everything is in proper order. It says divine timing is at work in your love life. And it's kind of an interesting play of words. Divine timing is at work in your love life. And I know this means about love life, but I'm also getting this work. I'm also getting this, like you're getting quite a bit of stuff at your work. There is like this again, there is this duality that I keep seeing, right? It's a kind of like very short attention span, because here there is like somebody impulsive, somebody who actually has a really high energy, that is that playfulness, and here it is like, I'm so tired, I really need to sleep. It's kind of like that push and pull energy. Maybe you're fighting that, maybe you're feeling a little bit lethargic, maybe you kind of like are really exhausted. I also see here some kind of disappointment. Maybe you had a partner, for some of you, who maybe you have lost. It says you have already met a romantic partner you seek. And you know, sometimes we want what we want. Because this Five of Cups is about loss. Somebody mourning, you know, things that, you know, have spilled milk. And you're thinking, I'll never get that. I will never recover this, right? Now, there is like this bridge over. There are like so many nice things in life. If you just look at the surroundings and you forget this scenery over here, then wouldn't that be a much different thing if you start looking up? If you guys are catching yourself that you're looking down, physically as well. Maybe it's the time to kind of stretch your arms and kind of like stretch your shoulders and start getting that new energy in it, because I feel that your vibration is not grounded. You're getting overwhelmed, and you definitely have a big heart and enthusiasm to move forward, but then again things get in the way. Yep, things get derailed. Look at here, you have like 2 sevens, 7 7 14 and 5 19. You know, it's kind of like really interesting here. There's like telling you that there, you know, you should need to step into moving forward, and I think this is going to be a really good card. But let's cover this one. Something that you really believe will work out didn't work out, and it didn't work out on some kind of like technical issue. Sort of like everything worked out, everything was supposed to happen, and then some small things such as, you know, you cancel the wedding because you don't like vanilla and somebody else insisted on vanilla cake. That's what I'm saying about some kind of like ridiculousness, and that's what I see it here, because the reason why you failed to see it, because something was missing, which kind of like was self-evident to everybody else, and to you was like a matter of prestige, or to somebody, because money actually does play a role in this reading over here. So something got derailed, something really went to the extreme, like maybe it was just like that, you know, extra straw on the camel's back. It couldn't be kind of tolerated. But this is actually very promising. It's saying, look, pick yourself up. You know, you didn't build this tree. Yes, this planting here was to build a tree, and the seed is for the tree. And right now we just have a bush. Does it mean it's not going to be a tree? So you have to figure out, are you going to kind of like feed the soil? It's like you keep getting this, you know, that you need to kind of like go down, because the point here is, yes, the water will help, but even if you pour the water from above, it's coming in there, and that's where it's going to reside. Something was really, really important over here, I see. And if you're wondering about somebody that actually made you really sad, maybe there was a loss of relationship, I do have to tell you that I see this remorse, I see this regret for something not working out, because somebody else maybe actually also wants to come back. And you know, people sometimes just get into this frenzy, and they sort of like get on the sidelines, and they reach an impasse, and then you just don't know how to move, because it's just like you feel like you're losing yourself in this situation. So this part here is not that great, and I really can't wait to see why, because it says you deserve love, and this is you, and you are not feeling that you do, and it is telling you you should. And look at this, also getting a Lovers and a Queen of Wands. In this combination, I would say this really means fake it until you make it. I do know that you have this like full stars, you kind of like jump. Now you have a Queen, you have a Knight, you had Page, which just like I'm missing the King. Well, did we have this King? Which we did have the King. We have this whole thing. Well, not mind you, now this also can mean that there is somebody else's family that is here at play, and that maybe some of you wanted to marry, and maybe you had no problem understanding or liking that partner, but you had problems accepting the family. And it looks like it was a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe you never met expectations, maybe you always feel, you know, you were not listened and acknowledged, and maybe you have been made into lesser than who you are and what you're supposed to be. Because the Queen of Wands, when she reverses, she becomes very whiny. And then in a situation like this, when it kind of like wears you down, you become the very thing that you said that like you're not going to be, or you know, that you promised yourself, I'm never going to be like my mother, sort of a thing. And then you just become just like that. And it's kind of like making this nightmare even worse. This is clearly telling you you need to let go your ex. Whether, you know, like you already are not in a physical relationship, this is definitely talking about, and we just finished this full moon transition, so you maybe want to wait the whole cycle. You know, write down the things you kind of like want and need to let go, It is something that is making you happy, unhappy, pardon me, something that is making you remorseful. There is lots of regrets about the situation, and there is like sort of like a pit in your stomach, I would say, where you're kind of like more or less fearful of moving forward and moving in some kind of future. And here you have the Queen of Swords and Three of Cups, and here going Ace of Cups, pardon me, Ace of Pentacles reversed. And it's kind of like really hard for you to engage. Maybe you have been spending some time with friends, but you really have not been present over here. I think it was just like almost like a ghost land. You did attend and you did nod your head and you did kind of like smile. You're putting this kind of like happy persona over there, but you kind of like are knowing that sort of like it's kind of hard for you to start moving forward, to start going in a new direction. Since an ace, I just really want to clarify this one. Okay, why is this ace here for Capricorn? Why is this Ace of Pentacles? Because this ace is something long term that needs to start, but somehow is not starting. Okay. Some communication or lack of communication, or you got a really bad communication. This can actually talk about some kind of illnesses as well. You have letter, you have malady, and you have priest. And it could be that it was like, I mean, an essence. Maybe you're still hoping that somebody's going to contact you. Maybe they're hoping you'll contact them. Maybe, you know, this can simply talk about clarification. And maybe it's just going to happen that you get something in writing, which is going to render you kind of like, maybe somebody's going to break up with you, to be really honest over here, which is going to make you feel really lesser than you are. And that sadness is going to be there because you're going to feel, well, that's the one that got away because the priest is single, right? And there it is becoming single. You're feeling, oh my gosh, I have been building. And you might even be accused, hey, you are like a drama queen, you know, like you don't know what you want, you're not committing yourself to me, or vice versa. Over here, I see these 2 sixes. This is definitely soulmate. And so this is kind of like showing up. So in your environment, it says make the effort, but like looks like for you, some of you are really depressed. Some of you are kind of like not even caring that people kind of bring the food and everything to you. It's just like kind of like, okay, I need to kind of like start moving forward, but I don't feel like it. So there is like the High Priestess reversed and the Fool. You are kind of like still tapping in the dark. You kind of like feel that there are some answers that you want to get, that somebody really betrayed you on a really deep level, and maybe you are like almost like resenting that they are moving on and they are moving kind of like forward in a new direction. This could be them kind of like just like looking at their own needs, looking at whatever they can get, and it's kind of like you're feeling this is really costing you dearly. And here you have getting to know each other, and this is like in your hopes and fears. And the Empress is, again, it's kind of the ground. It's kind of really needing for somebody who is a mother, creator, getting together with the energies, like somebody who is really clinging. And I don't know if this is you guys. Look at this. Yes. You know what? Maybe you are clinging to the past. This could actually mean that, because you have here, look, 3 and 3, 6 and 7, 13. That's the Death card. The Death card, and I thought the Tower would come. Well, that is very close. That means this has to stop. It has to transform. Even if you're still with somebody where this is kind of like coming to a like scorching halt, you really need to kind of like figure out what you want. It is not about them. Yes, it is about collaborating, but in this particular relationship you are not even recognizing yourself anymore. I think you're getting upset that you're not getting results that you really want. At the same time, you're really rushing it. You're not listening to the process. And if you have been gone through some kind of breakup that is still kind of like sending those waves of pain and, you know, issues that you're still dealing with, right? Because it tells me some of you are really feeling uprooted. You might have problems with child support. You may have problem like even kind of positioning yourself. Where do I want to go? Is this a friend? Is this a foe? I mean, it could have been that you relied upon somebody so much that now it really feels like being a little bit lost, right? Because here there is somebody like going forward in kind of like new things. Like this kind of like, it's kind of like not getting, because you really need your closure. This is not a good card when it's upright. When it's reversed, it definitely talks about aha moment, kind of like dealing with things that have happened. And so where is the direction? Direction is that you really need to find that energy. You need to almost organize yourself, ground yourself, and go slow and steady wins the race with your earth base. It's very important. And again, as I see over here, you do have suitors. There's no problem. It could be even Leo, Aries, and water signs that I see over here. You do have really highlighted water and also air and fire, of course. But the fire could mean that you feel that you're a little bit pushed out of your comfort zone. And it's also like, okay, it's about winning. Who looks the best? Who kind of gets all the kind of thing? If you are actually in that kind of relationship, or you're having this attitude that either you have to all the time be the best, the most, the sexiest, the, you know, the life of the party, or, you know, that you are meeting people like that who kind of like just talk about themselves, you really need to ask yourself if there is any more in that. Because it tells me you're putting a happy face, you're continuing to work on it. But the question here, my dear Capricorn, is why? Why are you doing that? Because I keep going back to this. You deserve love. You do deserve love. But how do you expect somebody else to give it to you if you're sending them words and signals that you don't deserve it? No, you just, you know, poop on me, fine. That's fine. Yeah, I know you have somebody else, but no, it's fine. How do you expect, when you didn't establish these boundaries, that is going to happen? Or worse yet, if you feel insecure, if you feel, oh, I don't know, I'm indecisive, that people will stick around. So when we fall in that hole, we need to kind of start climbing out little by little. And sure, we want to be out in a moment. We live in a microwave world, but the truth is, here there are no shortcuts for you. So I have pulled one more card for you for closing this reading, and you got Coming to Life reversed. Interestingly, it is a card 29, which is definitely healing. And look at that, she is in that tree pose over here. So it keeps coming to the tree. Maybe, guys, you should meditate on trees. That's nature. Is going to be very, very healing. And this is what it says. The Coming to Life card is a gentle reminder to get out of your own way, to let go and let spirit lead. New life is unstable in the beginning and needs gentle care. Farmers don't go into their fields and pull up the shoots of plants to see how they are doing. They know that everything has its own cycle of growth. Let nature take its course. Find other things to focus on right now. Simplicity and small steps are the order of the day. Oh boy, yes. When the time is right, you will see the miracle. So my dear Capricorn, I really hope this is kind of helping this month, and it will be really great to hear your own personal stories, because they are, after all, what this energy is actually displaying. And to get your private reading, contact me via cattarot.ca, which you have been seeing in this corner, appearing, reappearing. And also there are student readings for simpler questions, so you can take advantage of that. And if you have not seen your annual Taroscopes and even the bigger picture, in the description box down, if you scroll it, you will see them all listed, so you just have to click on them. On the right hand side, you also have the twin flame readings, and you can check those out. And let's not forget, you check your sun sign, you check your rising sign, and you should check your moon sign at the very least. And guys, I hope I'll see you on my other social media in the meantime. And until the next time, all the best. I love you.